Good. Okay, great. My name is Joan Nobling, and I have a loud voice. And I'm very glad to be with you today. And I'm part of the Community Connections Committee, but I want to make sure that besides welcoming all of you, whether you're here from 1UP, whether you're here from East, whether you're here from George or Benton, or wherever else you might happen to be here from in Spring. How did I forget that? We welcome you. We're glad you're here. I wanted to introduce the Community Connections Committee, and so they're just going to wave as we say their names. We have Bill Dickerson, our chair, right over there. Jackie Arb. We have Dick Cruz. We have me. I thought there was one more, and there are two new ones. And that's what I wanted to make sure I mentioned. Is Joyce Oberman here? Hi, Joyce, welcome. And then there's another gentleman whose name is Ken Ackerson. Is Ken here? Hi, and both of those folks are here with us from East for the first time. It's really nice to be back in this room and have so many people together again. It feels like old times. Now, I would like today to introduce to you Tony Rowe, who is the transportation manager for Oak Knoll Transportation Services. But he's agreed to answer a few other questions that I want to ask him first. So we need to try to figure this out. So Tony, if you would come up here, please, and I'm going to try to shout, okay? We're glad to welcome Tony Rowe, and for those who you're wondering, do you have any relations who work here? Any relatives?
No.
Not at all.
No.
He lies well, doesn't he? So who is that man?
That would be Steve, my dad.
All right, very good. You used to have a lovely young lady who no longer works here, but some of us were used to be very excited when we'd see that you were getting to know each other very well. Whatever happened to her?
Alex is now at Mercy, working in the Iowa Heart Center, and we got engaged on March 27th.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Congratulations.
And we will be getting married on December 11th of this year.
Wow, the day before my birthday. Wow.
We had that in mind when we set the
You
date.
did. I'm sure you did. Thank you. Well, best wishes to both of you.
Thank you.
Some of us who followed that romance regularly will be very happy to hear this news. And tell us, before you became the transportation manager here, I believe you had a few other occupations. What were they, please?
Yeah, so in June, I will have been at Oak Knoll for 14 years. I started when I was still in high school as a part-time receptionist, and then transitioned into a driving role about 10 years ago and took over the department about 7 years ago now.
Do you miss being a receptionist?
Not at all.
Okay. And some of us don't get to drive with you very often. How many people are in your team?
So we've got 2 full-time people upstairs now, and then Joe Abdo, who handles health center and assisted living transports for us.
So things have grown so that you need lots more people.
Yes.
Some people moved here and sold their cars like me because we could depend on Oak Knoll Transportation. And overall, I've been very happy, and I'm sure that you might hear from people who are very happy or who may have more questions. So I'm going to turn this over to you and say again, congratulations and best wishes to you and Alex.
Well, thank you.
And thanks for doing this for us today.
Thank you. Thanks, Joan. So as I mentioned, I've been here for 14 years now, but with my dad starting in '99, I pretty much grew up at Oak Knoll and have seen it expand to levels that I don't think even my dad would have ever seen coming. During the pandemic, we've certainly had a much slower, or our department has been much slower, but we reopened a majority of our transportation services in late February. So we're now offering the trips to the grocery store that we had been doing previously, Coral Ridge Mall, anywhere else that you want to go within the Iowa City and Coralville city limits. And then at the start of this year, we tacked on an extra hour at the end of the day for our services. Previously, We had ended at 4 o'clock. We're now ending at 5 o'clock, which is something that I had wanted to do for a long time, but we had never kind of had the staffing to do it. So I'm now here from 8:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and Brent comes in at about 7:30, and he's here till 4. And Ambar, our other driver, is here from about 8 to 4:30. So we've got somebody here from about 7:30 to 5 every day. We changed our scheduling and pickup system with the opening of East. Previously, the receptionist had been in charge of handling all of the scheduling and contacting the drivers when residents were ready for pickups. With the new campuses opening up, we wanted to have that all come through me because we wanted to take something off the receptionist plate because they're busy enough as it is. I have the capability with my phone to see which one of our drivers is closest to whoever needs to be picked up to limit wait times. So any call to schedule or for a pickup when you're ready should come to me at extension 3009, or if you're outside the building, 466-3009. And if I'm not at my desk, which is frequent, please leave me a message. I assure you that those messages come through. They come directly to my cell phone via an email, and I get the notification on my watch. I tested it earlier this morning, and 6 seconds after hang up is when I get the notification. So leave a message if I am not there. I know in talking with Bill earlier this week that many of the questions were regarding transportation to East for dinner or for programs when those get started up over there. I am working with Bruce Titus and Ken Gall, one of my weekend and evening drivers, to establish a day or two, depending on demand, per week, where we'll take people from the main campus over to Scotty's for dinner, or if people want to come from East over here to eat dinner with your friends, we'll work on that too. So I'm still working on that with Bruce and Ken, and when we have something set in stone, that will be, I will put something in the memo so that people know what's going on there. And I'm working with David Anson as well to establish the same thing when programs are running over at East. During the day, people can get rides from here over to East if you want to see your friends, East to over here. Just any time within those 8 to 5 regular hours that we operate, we are more than willing to take you from campus to campus. And then the last thing that I wanted to touch on was weekend services. We haven't seen too many churches in the area open back up. We've only had a request from one person so far to resume church transportation. And I talked with Steve and Retha, and we decided that once we hit 6 people who are requesting weekend church services, we will reopen that. That's kind of been our threshold for Hansher and basketball games and Voxman and stuff like that previously. We just can't justify bringing somebody in to take one person on the weekend right now. So once we hit 6 people who are requesting church transportation or something to the farmer's market on Saturday or something like that, we will reopen our weekend transportation. Ken and Bryant are both eagerly awaiting getting back in here to see everybody. So that's all I've got, so I will open it up for any questions that people might have. Yeah, so that's a good question. Yep, so it's Ken. Kent. Kent lives over at East, and he wants to know where the pickup and drop-off location will be for East residents. It is that little circle drive in Building 3. There's a nice vestibule there that'll have seating, and I think probably a desk for Brent at some point in there. When we completely reopen, Brent will start his day at least over at East and just kind of be going back and forth. But yes, the pickup and drop off will be at Building 3. Yes, yep, at least to start the day. When it gets busier, he's not going to be there very often, but yeah, he'll certainly start the day there at least. Judy?
So, if 10 people or 15 people want to go to something at Hansher, can everybody be accommodated?
Yes, so Judy's question is if we've got 10 or 15 people who want to go to Hansher, can that be accommodated? Certainly can. Rhoda is
There will be a fall program in Hansher.
okay.
There will be a brochure. I know it's going to start somewhere around early September
Okay.
for the program. And as soon as I know what they are, I'll get it to you.
Okay. So Rhoda says that Hansher programs will be starting up again in September. Yes, we can accommodate as many people pretty much as want to go to Hansher. When I first took over the department several years ago, we would never take more than one busload to an event. 2 years ago, we took 6 busloads to a Hansher event. Something I'm very proud of to get as many of our residents to wherever they want to go as possible. Of course, it takes some residents needing to go significantly earlier than the performance start time, but yeah, we want to ensure that as many people get to any extra event as we can possibly accommodate.
At the moment, we will have to keep it at 75%.
Okay.
Repeat that, what you said?
So, what's the director's name, Rhoda? Chuck Swanson. So Chuck Swanson says that at the beginning for Hansher, they're going to keep capacity at 75% for the auditorium. Jackie?
And I'm assuming you're also going to accommodate Orchestra Iowa, which usually has Sunday afternoon,
Yep,
and Boxman, the evening from Boxman.
yep, yep. Any Orchestra Iowa, at the Performing Arts Center, anything at the School of Music, yeah. And as soon as any of those programs open up to the public and people want to go, we're certainly willing to provide the transportation to anybody.
Basketball, both men and women.
Yep, yep. So the season prior to the pandemic, we were offering transportation to both men's and women's basketball, and we will be doing that as soon as they are allowing fans back into the arena. Yep.
What if a single person wants to go to and spend a couple of hours at Von Mars?
That-
I don't get some. Or possibly a week.
If Judy wants to go on a shopping spree at Von Mauer, yep.
Different clothes than did Ross.
Yep, yep. As long as it's within that 8 to 5 Monday through Friday right now. Yep. 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 Just like we take people to the mall or to the grocery store or anything. Yep. Joe?
Yeah, I was curious. I was always a big fan of public transportation, and I was one of the few people here who used the city bus, which has stops right at the border of Oakland. And I wonder what is the attitude of Oakland and the administration toward use of that bus, maybe after hours? Is it unnecessary or discouraged, or what's the attitude?
So Joe's asking about the use of city bus, especially after hours. We have no problem with people taking the city bus. I know earlier in the pandemic, before people were vaccinated and everything, we were discouraging that. But with more and more people getting vaccinated, as long as you're keeping your masks on and stuff on the city bus, we've got no problem with people using city bus transportation. Harold?
How about the airport?
So,
I know you have
Yeah, yeah. We currently do not offer any shuttle service to the airport up in Cedar Rapids. It's something that Steve and I have been kicking around and trying to figure out a way that we can make it work. I think we're getting close to establishing some sort of program to have a shuttle to the airport. And when we finally do figure something out, that will be communicated in the memo as well. Jackie?
Can you do that before June 11th?
That might be a little quick turnaround for us.
Because I just booked a car, and I would love
I'm sure.
I guess my actual question is, on the bus, you were limiting the number on the bus to 6 for social distancing. What's the number now? And are you thinking about taking more people?
So right now we're up to 8 on the bus, and I get that guidance from Kimberg and Jackson. I would imagine before too long we'll be back up to a full 14 if it's necessary.
Would you ever take 8 to the Cedar Rapids Art Museum, or 6?
Yes, yeah. Just for a day trip, or is there some special event going on there?
You know, a special exhibit?
Yeah, that's something that we could probably work out with David Anson. I know he's always looking for places to take people, and we could certainly work something out with him. If you want to let me and him know, we'll work something out.
Well, I had the same question about county parks.
Yes. For that one, as long as it's within Iowa City and Coralville city limits, we'll do right now, unless there's some sort of special event going on. Yeah. Anyone else?
What is the procedure at the grocery store? I've never.
Okay. Yep. So Margaret's asking what the procedure for a grocery store is. Currently on Mondays and Thursdays, we offer trips to the Fairway down the street here at 9 o'clock and 1 o'clock. People generally get an hour at the store. It can be worked out with the driver. If everybody doesn't need an hour, we can certainly come back in half hour or 40 minutes or something like that, as long as it works with the rest of our schedule. Tuesdays and Fridays, we go to the Waterfront Hy-Vee at 9 and 1. And then for our East residents on Wednesdays, we take people to the Fairway down on Scott Boulevard at 9 o'clock and to the Hy-Vee on Dodge Street at 11 o'clock on Wednesdays. Yep.
I've got a question. Earlier you said that you'll be starting at 7:30 in the morning.
So Brent comes in at about 7:30. Our first official run isn't until 8, but if you have an 8 o'clock appointment and we know about it at least a couple days in advance, Brent's usually pretty willing to take you over there a little bit earlier. Yep. He comes in at about 7:30 to check the voicemails from the night before in case we've got any early morning additions before I get in at 8:30, so that we don't leave anybody.
Well, I know, well, I'm speaking for myself, and I think some other people have early appointments that they use.
Yep.
Around 8 o'clock.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, as long as it's communicated to us a few days beforehand, and so Brent knows that he's going to need to come in a little earlier on one of those days, then, I think, Kay, I think you've gone over early a couple times. Joan Wiest, I think you've gone over early a couple times. Yeah. We're certainly willing to come in a little earlier to make life easier for everybody. Yep. Yep.
Are you suggesting then that if some of these trips, like you mentioned, to the museum or to the county parks, that maybe we start with David Anson and organize something?
Yeah, if it's not one of those like Hansher or basketball or Voxman stuff, if it's maybe more of, I don't know what to call it, a specialized event, or a field trip's a good word for it, Bill. Yeah, we can go to Me Too, but David Anson's always looking for for programs to get people to, yeah, so we can work together to do something about that.
So we're gonna get something in writing so that I might remember this whole.
I can do that for you. Yep. 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 I'll put something together and distribute it. It's probably about once a year, so I put just a general guidelines thing together, just as a overall reminder to everybody what our services are and communicate any changes that may have happened. And I'm probably about due to do that again, so I'll put that together. Yep, Jackie.
So I know that Dave has already published his concert series in the courtyard, both here and East. So can I assume that you're going to have buses available to take people back and forth to those courtyard events?
Yep. Yep. I'm communicating with Ken and Bryant, our 2 weekend evening people, and coordinating a schedule for them to get people from the main campus over to East for those concerts, and from the East campus over here for the concerts in the courtyard. Anything else?
Are there no more questions? None at all? Don't be shy.
Is there anything we won't do?
Yeah, they won't take us to the airport yet.
Yep.
But I'm not going anywhere anyway right now, so that's okay.
Yep. Okay.
What else don't you do, Tony? Can you think of any place else that we really cannot go?
I don't think I'll take you to a downtown bar.
Okay.
That's about it.
All right, good. Well, if no one else has, do you have a question, Kay? Jean wants to know the reason is.
No reason, Gene. There we go. I can do that, Kent. Yep.
Kay, do you have a question?
Well, everybody not everybody, a lot of people go to Pomerantz for drop off and pick up.
Yep.
It's a terrible place when you come out of there to try and find your vehicle. I mean, the logo's on the side of the car, but you have to be right there to see. I was there this morning waiting, and there's 10 cars before my car came.
Yep.
I mean, the weather's fine, you can be outside, but in the winter, when it's really cold and blustery, you want to be inside, you cannot see
Yep.
the vehicle. Kelly's thinking of having a little placard that the driver can put up in the windshield as he approaches, and you can kind of get yourself ready for,
Yeah. That's not a bad idea.
I mean, not put it there permanently, but just.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
She would probably even design one for you.
All right.
Makes a pretty good smiley face.
That's what I thought, right?
All right. That'll be our secret signal.
Anything else?
Yep,
Yes.
Harold.
The backseat drivers, are they allowed?
Yeah.
I bring that up, jokingly, but I'm sure that you get some feedback and
Yeah. Some more than others. Yeah. There are certainly some people who have routes that they grew accustomed to taking when they were driving themselves and question if we go a different way.
And do the brakes work on the right side?
Thankfully, we uninstalled those. Yeah.
Are people allowed to sit in front to kind of direct you? I have no sense of direction, but I mean, can people sit in the front seat?
So right now we're trying to keep people in the back, still for social distancing, as much as possible in a car. But if we do have 2 or 3 people going to the same location, that has opened up more now. So like if Rhoda and Kay and Jan were all going to Pomerantz, and they were all comfortable with it, we could certainly take 3 at a time and have somebody sit up front. Yeah, trying to limit it, but it's possible. Yeah.
Anybody else? Well, we certainly are lucky to have you and your crew and the accommodations that you make for all of us. When you're new to Iowa City like I was, I don't know what I would have done if you guys hadn't taken us. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Joan.
Thanks for today. Wait, Bill has a question. Bill?
Want to remind everybody, our next Community Connections meeting is June 9th. It'll be at Eat, actually. That's Steve Anson talking about the program. It'll be at Eat and here at the West Campus. And it'll be live streamed here. So, put that on. Well, it'll come out on that.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks a lot, Tony.
Thank you.
Okay.